Yeah, if your worldview rules out, if you have consciously decided that you choose not to believe that there's any possible existence of a God or a higher power or anything like that, if you've made that choice in your presuppositions, then you're going to lean toward, well, of course you don't believe in a designer because it doesn't fit, like I talked about, your worldview, it doesn't fit in your box. So you're already going to rule it out. You're going to say, well, if you allow for the possibility. Now, the chart that I have does not define agnosticism. Does everybody understand the difference between atheism and agnosticism?
Atheist does not believe God.
Atheist has determined in their own mind there is not a God, period. There is nothing.
There is some kind of higher power.
Or they're unsure at least.
Yeah, well, there might be.
Okay.
There is a variety, and that may be why they don't bother to list that. It is, to me, a very important worldview to understand, because I think a lot of people in contemporary society fall into that category. A lot of people, and agnosticism, you're not going to be tested on this, but I think you should know this for the course purpose. It has a wide variety, because at one end of the spectrum, you basically have sort of different degrees of agnosticism, because at one end of the spectrum, you can have the allowance for there might be a God or something like that, but probably not, okay, at one end. At the other end, you can have, I definitely think there's something there, but I just don't really know what that is. Haven't figured out if any of these other religions got it right, or if they're all wrong, or if there's something in a little bit in all of them, or whatever. So you can have that level of agnosticism. So you could be leaning one way or another on believing in something that's a higher power when it comes to the agnostic worldview. So it's a little bit hard to nail down, but basically it means that you don't know. That's what the word means, without knowledge, okay? Agnosticism. It's, I don't know. There might be, might not be, or there probably is, but I just don't know what that is, okay? All those can fall within agnosticism. Atheism has determined absolutely no God. They're, not even allowing for that possibility, okay? All right. So, a moral argument that we're going to talk about next. This is one of the things Immanuel Kant's perhaps most known for is his ethics and so on. We talked about his transcendental idealism, his epistemology in that chapter, but now we're going to talk about Kant's argument for the existence of a God. He comes from a whole different perspective. We're getting away from look around the universe. That's what we've done so far. We've talked about the universe and things that pertain to rational arguments related more to the outside world and looking around. Now we're going to talk about your personal experience. Okay? Your personal experience. He says, quit looking around and look at the nature within, is what Kant wants you to look at right now. Kant says, look at yourself as a human being. Human experience shows that man has an inherent moral nature. Therefore, there must be a God with a sense of or demand for morality. And what do you think about that? Quiet.
Sorry, what was the question? I'm sorry.
The second.
What do you think about Kant's argument for the existence of a God? He says, quit looking around outside stuff. Look at yourself. You have a basic, and I want to define this. I don't want to confuse any particular conscience issues with Kant. I don't think that's what he's getting at. I want to interpret a little bit here. Kant is getting at that very core sense of that you've had since a child, right and wrong. You understand some things are right and some things are wrong. Now, how that got adjusted and what got plugged into what's right and what's wrong is another story. Because what you may think is absolutely horribly wrong in another culture, it's the right thing to do on a daily basis. Okay? I'm not talking about particulars. I'm talking about that basic core sense of some things are just wrong and some things are just right. Okay? That basic core sense. That's really all he's getting at. He's not saying that you have a sense of certain things, particular things. that all gets, comes out and gets a lot more complicated. But that sense of there are things that are right and there are things that are wrong. Who said so? Who said anything's right or anything's wrong?
What if it's almost just kind of what do they call that, the small brain thing of just surviving your nature? It's like you know not to do certain things just because it'll affect your survival later on.
Really? You've never been conscience-stricken over doing something that wasn't necessarily legally wrong, but it just was wrong to do that person that way?
But that was my parents' influence. That wasn't.
That, well, possibly. Possibly. There are some things when you're a little child that you can know are wrong to do without having to be told necessarily up front that that particular thing is wrong to do. You conceptualize right and wrong at some point. You can conceptualize. And you know that Mommy never told me to do this particular thing, but I kind of think she wouldn't like that. Okay? And then as you get older, you realize things are just wrong. Where's that coming from? Your parents aren't going to spank you for, doing something wrong to somebody, are they? You're not going to be punished by your parents anymore. So what is that nagging conscience thing? Where's that coming from anyway? I mean, why can't you just logically eradicate that? You're a rational being. Why can't you just get rid of that? Doesn't it get on your nerves sometimes?
Well, now it's either a legal matter or it's a.
It's just the fear of consequences.
Fear of consequences? What if you know there's no consequences? You
There's always a consequence.
Then you won't feel bad about it? If there's no consequences?
There's always a consequence to everything.
If there weren't any consequences, there would be a responsibility.
Exactly.
It's also foresight.
I mean, one of the consequences could be hurting someone's feelings.
Right.
Still,
Okay.
as a consequence.
Okay, that's good. Now you're clarifying. That makes a little more sense out of where you're going with that. The consequence may not necessarily affect you directly, but then wait a minute. Why are you going to feel bad about what do you care about their feelings?
Because if it's my boss or my supervisor,
Why do you care?
affect my job.
Why do you care? Where'd that come from?
Because you have a conscience and hopefully.
Oh, wait a minute. No, we don't have to. Why can't you logically just get rid of that? We're rational beings.
I have a conscience.
Intelligent, rational beings. Why can't we get rid of that thing?
Get rid of what thing?
That conscience thing. What's that for?
Because my mom told me I had to have one.
You don't need that, do you? You don't need a conscience. Do you need a conscience?
Yes, I do.
Why?
Because then I would do mean stuff to my boyfriend or my father's baby.
No, wait. There's no right and wrong
Yes, sir.
outside of yourself, is there?
Yes.
There is. Oh, wait a minute. Where'd that come from? See what I'm saying? If there's no
to-
right and wrong, you don't need a
Yeah.
conscience. But you're telling me you need a conscience because there's right and wrong. See it?
Okay,
Which is it?
both.
Oh, wait a minute. You need a conscience and there's a right and wrong.
Exactly.
Objectively, in the world, there's right and wrong out there.
Absolutely.
It's not just inside of you.
No.
There's right and wrong out there.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
All right. Anybody disagree with her?
I don't know.
You don't know. Better figure it out quick.
I don't think good and bad objectively exists. It's just like
Okay, then
you
where-
think it is.
Okay, you think it is. What part of you thinks it is? That conscience part of you?
No, I just mean what your opinion is of something being right or wrong.
Okay, it's just your opinion. There's no objective right or wrong. So you're a relativist.
I think humans make right or wrong. Because animals don't have that kind of.
Oh, you don't think animals have a sense of right or wrong?
No.
Kant would agree with you, I think.
My dog.
Kant would say, exactly, there's something different about you as an individual human being.
We have the ability to think.
You have that ability.
Well, that's where
You have that moral nature. That's all he's saying. Apes, are they're intelligent. They know I get on the chair, I can get up. They can train to do a lot of things. They're very intelligent. But do they know that stealing that banana from that other monkey's wrong?
But if there's
Yes.
a God,
Do they know that's wrong?
if there's a God with
Why
a sense or demand for morality, wouldn't he give it to everything?
I suppose that depends on, once again, your worldview. If there's no need for it among the other beings,
But
Why is it that we have it as human beings? Why do we have it? Is there something different and unique about the human being that there's some need for moral nature? Is there some status, perhaps?
Well,
Yeah.
what was Nietzsche's